Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Tea with the Duchess with me, your fabulous hostess, the Duchess. And I've got today in the studio an amazing gentleman, and I'm so excited to have this gentleman in the studio today because I know he's never in one place, and you know I feel so honored. So just join me and welcome to the show, Obi Emelonye. Welcome to Tea with the Duchess.
May one sip some tea?
Yes, one may.
Fabulous tea.
And your cake. Or you get to that later.
Damage my diet.
Oh,
but this tea is fabulous.
Okay.
Don't mind me. Nice to meet you.
I thought you would keep up that accent for the.
I'm a true Nigerian. I sound like an
Niger.
educated Nigerian. No, it's my pleasure to be on the show.
Oh, thank you for making time out. Obviously, everybody watching must have heard your name.
No.
No,
they haven't.
But if they haven't,
yes.
Would you obviously introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah,
please?
My name is Obi Emelonye. I'm a Nigeria-born, UK-bred filmmaker who's taken the magic of Nollywood to the world, the wider world, with what I call authentic African stories with universal soul. So that's me. Wow.
That's an understatement, isn't it? I'm sure they must have heard about MirrorBoy, The Last Flight to Abuja, and then most recently, Onye Ozi, which is what you're actually here to talk about.
Yes.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Yeah, to talk about that one. But before we go in,
yes.
I just want to know, how did you manage to? Because I know it's so difficult when you want to do movies, especially Nollywood movie outside of Africa. How were you able to, the challenges you faced, and how were you able to start with the MirrorBoy?
It's been a very long journey, very long journey, and I'll to make it a bit more interesting, I'll start from the beginning. I studied drama at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka many years ago. If I told you the year, you'll begin to make calculations now, and that will not be good for my reputation. I studied drama, and then I came to the UK. I set up a theatre company and made the first production of a play that I wrote at Lewisham Theatre, which is now Catford Broadway, in 1998. And it suddenly dawned on me that to survive as a theatre arts practitioner in a climate like the UK involved too much work and very little rewards. So I felt, even though my training was essentially on stage, that I needed to evolve as an artist. And the future was digital. The future was on the screen, whether it's big or large or so small screen or silver screen or the grey screen, whichever you want to call it. So I felt that was where I was going to work towards. In the meantime, I needed to put food on the table. I needed to be pragmatic about surviving in the UK. And I felt that I needed a new career, but a career that would allow me the time to practice my craft and had transferable skills that I could take back to the arts when I eventually felt that the time was right. And that career was law. I read law, University of Wolverhampton, and qualified as a solicitor in 2002. And I practiced law alongside making films. In fact, one of my iconic films that set me on this path is a film called Echoes of War that I made in 2003. But I had to suspend my bar exams, my solicitor exams, to be able to make the film. I eventually passed in the end, but it was the kind of juggling act that I had to do. And then I attended a lot of courses in filmmaking, production, editing. And in 1999, I bought my first camera and bought an Apple Mac system and shot my first film.
Wow.
Writer, director, producer, editor, box boy, makeup artist, actor, everything. And it was the steepest learning curve in filmmaking, and I think it was one of the best £1,500 I've spent as a human being buying those equipment.
Wow. So I know obviously you're a family man. Yeah. So how do you cope? How do you juggle all that and make sure you're maintaining a stable home?
Just like everybody juggles. People go to work in the morning and come back in the evening, and they're tired. They have to make time to go take people to drama classes and take them from gyms and stuff like that. So it's the kind of responsibility that you get burdened with, and I wouldn't use the word burden, but you get blessed with, and you feel these people are looking up to you. My wife is also very understanding, and she balances out when I'm not there. Lately, particularly, I've been doing a lot of traveling because last flight Abuja has flown around the world, literally speaking. And I had to fly with it because most of the times the real benefit is not the screening fees or the fees that you get paid for taking the films there. The real benefits come from you going there, building new audiences, building new relationships, learning from people, and building contacts that would come up very valuable in the future. So I make the effort to attend whatever the film is screening, whatever my films have screened. I make the effort to attend, and it makes it easier when they are paying for you to come. So
definitely,
I've been around a bit, and in that time, my wife tries to take care of the home front. And when I am around, I am as house husband, as house father as they come.
As it could be.
I do the school run to and from, and I have an office in the house. So when I'm in the UK, I'm around. When I'm not, they have to bear that I'm not around. So it's the kind of sacrifices that you have to make. Otherwise, they would sit around the table looking at me all day long and wouldn't have any food on the table.
True. You're right. So
may one sip some tea now?
One may. You don't need to take permission from me. Absolutely fabulous. Fantastic. So obviously we're here to talk about your latest project that you've got on board now. I really want to know, how did you come about doing that project? Because it's obviously something that you should do. Obviously, being from that part of the world, it will be good for you to do something with your language. But what made you? Because it's a lot of challenges.
It is.
Yeah.
And I would maybe go back to the MirrorBoy. The MirrorBoy put me on a pedestal. I call it a blessed film in that it kind of broke down barriers and opened doors for me personally as a filmmaker, and also for the rest of African cinema to make headway into the mainstream, particularly in the UK. And after that, it was like an endorsement of the kind of storytelling technique that we had in the MirrorBoy when it was so successful critically and commercially. And after that, I've kind of felt invigorated by or really confident enough to take on the subject matter of aviation, which we tackled in Last Flight Abuja, with all its glamour, its glitz, and unfortunately the crashes.
I know. Oh my God.
And
it was as if you were predicting something.
I don't know. Some people have used those kind of words to describe it, but I refuse to accept them because I made a film about a subject matter that I was very passionate about. I still am passionate about it. And I practice what is called creative brinkmanship. You have to operate on the edges, slightly provocative without being overtly provocative, slightly controversial, slightly edgy, so that
to get
by
people
God's grace, you get the right kind of reaction from people. If you go over the top, then people would
shun you in your movie.
So at the moment, it's a balancing act. So it is in practicing that provocative, almost near provocative filmmaking technique that we chanced upon Last Flight Abuja. Last Flight Abuja I wrote in 2007, after the crashes in Nigeria in 2005 and 2006. And we didn't get to make it until 2011, in late 2011. But 5 days before our London premiere, which you attended, we had the misfortune of the plane crash in Nigeria that killed several people. In fact, 2 plane crashes. The same day. One in Ghana and one in Nigeria. Both of them Nigeria registered planes. So the film that I made that was supposed to be a look back at a period of our history that we're not very proud of became as contemporary as they come. And I was almost thrust upon this responsibility to become like a voice for aviation safety in Nigeria, and it's something that I decided to take very seriously. We raised some funds for the people whose families suffered in that crash. We have more than anything put the issue of aviation safety squarely in the public agenda, and once again in the last few days another plane crashed in Nigeria. In fact, the same plane that crashed in Nigeria recently was the same version of plane that we used for Last Flight Abuja.
Wow.
So Last Flight Abuja has been received very well. It's done well. It's still the highest grossing film from West Africa since 2012.
I have to
in the cinema.
Yeah.
And it's just been released on DVD. It's doing very well. It's also been released online, where it's had 1 million hits in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So it's doing great things, and it's on the basis of that, on the back of that, that I said, you know what, maybe this is the time to make a film that is slightly different from the norm. This is the time to put my language and my culture at the center of an international film. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that Nollywood, as we know it today, some people would beg to differ, but Nollywood as we know it today, the business of Nollywood, the business of filmmaking as we know it, started from a film called Living in Bondage in 1992. It's an Igbo film, subtitled in English. But since then, the Igbos, who are in the majority in terms of filmmaking, have kind of shied away from using Igbo as the language for telling Nigerian stories. They use English now, and they've made English very popular. Even when they're dealing with village scenes, they still use English. And I understand why they do that, because they want the films to travel. But because I live in the UK, the reverse is the case for me. That my language becomes more important. I already have traveled.
Yes.
I don't need that language connection to travel. What I need to do is to project my culture. What I need to do is to there's an African saying that says that if you want to fight an alien culture, the best way to go about it is by promoting yours. So this is an attempt to try and promote my culture, which is essentially the language, which is the biggest defining factor we have as Igbo people, or even as Nigerians, wherever you come from in Nigeria. Your language is your strongest defining identity. So it becomes the centerpiece of this film. And I wrote it originally in English, had to translate it with the help of some of my academic Igbo academics. And we've produced something that, even though it's a humbler project than most of the ones that I've done in the past, but it has the potential to really, really, really kick on and start something great in Nollywood.
Yeah, I was watching clips of the adverts, and I saw a Caucasian male speaking Igbo. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Because that's something I've never seen, like in most movies, regardless of what language, where you have people from other culture actually now speaking the language and not their language in a movie. So how were you able to handle that?
You know, what I told you about creative brinkmanship, you have to constantly look for something that stands your project out from what is a maddening crowd in Nollywood. There are thousands of films made every month, every year. And in order not to get lost in that madness, you have to stand out. And it's not necessarily the budget. It's not necessarily the story. It's little things that you put in it to become the unique selling point. And when originally I wanted the white people in the film to speak English as they would in the UK. But then I said, what if we had this imaginary worldview whereby Igbo is the lingua franca, is the official language of the film, of whatever we are. So I said, okay, let me try out at the audition to see if we could have how the white people would react to the language. And at the beginning, it was funny because they spoke it syllabically. So it's, instead of saying onona akoko eba, they will say onona akoko eba. So they just say it as it is, those syllables, la, pa, su, ka, like that, and they line it up just like you do in modern language, English, Spanish, French. But what they needed to understand was that our language is more tonal. It's more of a sing-song. Onona kukweba.
Yeah.
So it's not onona kukweba. It's not flat. It's onona kukweba. so it was trying to teach them to switch mentally from the syllabic nature to a more tonal one. And what I did to do that was the guys with principal roles, and when I say they spoke Igbo, it wasn't one-liners. No. It wasn't one word. Yeah. They actually conversed, kept conversations going in Igbo. So I wrote the English lines and I translated them into Igbo in a way that they can read. And then I recorded the English lines and then recorded the Igbo translation and sent it to them. So they put it on their iPads and their iPhones and they sat in trains and listened to it over and over again like mad people. So that when they came, they were a bit prepared to really tackle the tonal differences between English and Igbo. And with a little bit of rehearsal, we got them going. So, you know, people hear it and they say, wow, the guy could speak Igbo. He couldn't speak Igbo. We just taught him what he needed to know. And what that has done is that for a language that is not so hip anymore, all of a sudden, if you see a white guy speaking it, you will say, if this guy made the effort, whether it is just for artistic purposes to learn the language, maybe it behoves of me to learn it and preserve it and teach my children how to speak it. Because, like I said, it is the most important defining identity factor.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. Because I had to do my research about Igbo language, and I think it was UNESCO who had listed Igbo language as one of the endangered languages to go extinct within the next 20 to 50 years. Yes. And, you know, I have to commend you for doing something about it and to, you know, kind of like try and make it a bit more hip, like you say.
Yes. You know, I am guilty of, I'm one of those parents who's guilty of not teaching it to their children early and fast enough. Yeah. My wife is Igbo and I'm Igbo. We speak Igbo in the home, but the kids can understand a little bit, but they're not fluent in the Igbo. And I have friends whose kids are fluent in the Igbo, and it doesn't even affect their English accents. So it's better late than never. True. Just like my turning up late for the show. I'm sorry.
You see, you baited yourself out. They wouldn't have even known about it.
Now they know. Now they know. They'll forgive me. They'll forgive me. So it's about resurrecting that feeling in parents to say, you know what? You know, if I was in a supermarket queue and I wanted to speak to my son in a language that nobody else would understand, I wanted to confide in him about something. I couldn't do that because he doesn't understand the language enough. And he couldn't answer me back without giving away whatever it is. So you don't have any more, what do I call, bows or arrows, you know, in your arsenal. And educationists in this country have found out that children that can speak multiple languages actually do better than the ones that speak just English. So it's in the child's interest. It's in the interest of the preservation of our culture, so that we don't become an endangered species that we preserve our culture. And this film is just a little iota of contribution towards making that, you know, making the Igbo, like, you know, we're speaking about the Igbo now. If it was made in English,
we wouldn't be talking about it now.
Exactly.
Definitely. So I know the movie is going to be premiering soon. So tell us what's going to be happening and what to expect on the day and what date it is.
Yes, we have what we call a global premiere of the film on the 18th of October. By global premiere, we mean that we have a live premiere in London at Lighthouse on Camberwell Road in London, SE5. That live event will be mirrored online. Okay. By an online release. So at the same time that we're watching the film, say about 8:30, that the film starts screening, anybody anywhere in the world can log on to Iroko TV, Ibaka TV, or afrinoli.com and watch the film the same time as us. So it's the first time in the world, in world cinema, that there is a simultaneous release in the theater as well as online. And this is symptomatic of where the future is heading.
True.
Because online is becoming a much powerful tool. The new ways of generating revenue from online. Like I said, last flight Abuja has been seen by 1 million people online in a matter of 3 weeks. So it tells you that the potential is huge, and what we're trying to do is to find means of monetizing that potential, so that the traditional means of cinema and DVD that are dying now can be substituted by something that is as powerful, but at the same time easy to reach people and will generate money. So the premiere is happening on two levels: the physical one in London and the online one, which the red carpet event would be watched by the people online on Google Plus before, and then as we go into the theater to watch the film, they can go back to their laptops and watch the film for a small fee. It's like I said, the big first that I'm very passionate and proud of, and I hope it's with the support of people that it provides a new revenue stream for filmmakers from Africa, so that we can, wherever we are, reach our people and monetize it in a way that puts back the investment that we've made in trying to make these films on the quality that we make them.
Wow, fantastic. It was great having you come down, but I can't let you go.
You're not chasing me away, are you?
No. We're not completely done. But before we end, I would need you to tell our listeners your website, your Twitter, Facebook, wherever, so they can get information about whatever you're doing or contact you.
Did you get that? Did you get that? But they're listening. They weren't listening. You see? That's what happens.
Are you sure you haven't been in comedy as well?
That's what happens when you're not listening. Everything I am goes into everything I do.
Yeah.
Who says that? I think Honda. Everything we know goes into everything we do.
Yes.
You could see a bit of, even in last flight Abuja that had serious subject matter. Yeah. I inserted
a little bit of comedy to soften.
These days the genre, the borderlines between genres of films have kind of faded.
True.
You find comedy with every bit of car chase that you see in an action thriller. You find horror films with comedy of the type that would crack you up, because they need to balance everything. So it's a jumble now. It's an eclectic mix. True. So I am on Facebook, although I've exceeded my limits for friends, but you can still send me emails. My name is my name on Facebook, Obi Emelonye, ObiEmelonye, and it's the same on Twitter. Find me, send me something. I always respond personally to these things. I'm not one of those people that say I'm too busy to respond to people that are supporting me. I don't do fans. I have supporters, because to say fans means that you assume that you are more important than them. No, there are people who have taken from within their hearts to say, let's support this guy because we like what he's doing. Definitely. And I call them supporters and not fans. My website is my company is called the Nollywood Factory. The Nollywood Factory. It's www.thenollywoodfactory.com. The site is not what it should be, but we'll hopefully fix it. So I'm on Twitter, Facebook. Visit any of these sites. I'm also on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, type in my name, it will give you a whole heap of things that you need to know or you need to see about me. And I'm on Duchess show. Yes. This is a career-defining moment.
Oh my God! Praise the Lord.
Career-defining moment. This is a Larry King.
Yes. Yes.
Is he still alive, Larry King?
Oh my God! Yes, he is. Okay. Oh God!
On that sad note,
I know.
On that sad note, we will end this edition of this program.
I know.
Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. My name is Obi, that Duchess Nena, and next time, see you soon. I'm not gonna be here. She's gonna be here. This is how we do.
Oh my God! I can't laugh enough, but You've heard it all from the wonderful Obi Emelonye, and thank you for watching. And whatever you do, visit the website, keep checking, and hopefully turn up for the premiere of the movie.
If you don't put up, I'll come and get you. You have to come. You have to support us. Without you, we are nothing.
Definitely. Yeah, so whatever you're doing, just keep watching us on www.duchesstv.com. And we're going to have pictures of, this fine specimen of a gentleman on on www.brianwoods.com, and pictures of all our other past guests. So thank you very much and stay blessed. Bye.